Hey, welcome into another Whoosh Wednesday with me, Louie. Today, we're going to look at some of the books I submitted to CGC through Bobby's RetroWorld, and he did some work on them, and they're not perfect 9.8s or 9.6s, but I kind of knew that when I bought them. But they are key books that would have been on my 2024 list had I literally not bought them right before I decided to make a list of 2024 books that I wanted to pick up this year. You can find that over on blogger.com/Whoosh Comics and Running, where I write up a lot of different things at a lot of different times. Most recently, might be an Ahsoka review. Who knows? Check it out. Find out. Go see everything else on there. There's a lot of cool content I've written. A lot of it from prior to me relaunching Whoosh, which is really cool. I love to keep all of my archive stuff. So there's a lot of comic reviews over there. Some race reviews as well. So we are called Comics and Running for a reason. I know I have not done a lot of running posts or anything like that, but we're getting back on that now that it's race season. So the whole point of this video, though, was to discuss 3 books I submitted to grading through Bobby's RetroWorld to CGC. And he did do some work on them, cleaned them up a bit, and got some pretty great grades for them. They're all, I would say, pretty big keys. And I'm really stoked to have them. A couple of them have been on my radar for a while. So, the hesitation is because I don't know what order to go in. It's tough. I guess I'll start with the one I've shown on the channel before, because you did witness me buy this at the Paper Asylum in Beverly, Massachusetts. So, I really love this book. I've wanted this book for a while. I've looked at it I don't know how many times, and I happened to be at the Paper Asylum around my birthday, and I thought, hey, you know what I should do? Treat myself to a birthday comic, because who wouldn't do that, right? Anyway, totally a healthy thing to do. But I'm talking about my Beta Ray for Bill first appearance, which is Thor number 337. This came back as an 8.5. Very excited for that. Mostly because I did notice there was like a slight chip on the corner down on the bottom. I didn't know how that would affect the grade, but it did come back, which is really great with white pages. The cover is super clean. I probably owe Bobby a shout out over Bobby's RetroWorld for the work and the care he put into these books. And he's always got my back too. If he's looking at them and he notices something I didn't, he'll let me know ahead of time, and he definitely reached out on them just to see if I knew some of the issues. And like I said, I did. So I didn't want to go too crazy on them. I knew they weren't going to be 9.6s or even probably 9.0 candidates, especially like I said, this one has a chip in it. But I don't care. This is awesome. I'm super stoked. And I know I've mentioned this before, my wife is a huge Jane Foster fan, so she loves the Thor stuff. Her father was a huge Thor fan when it first came out. He collected the original run. Still upset that his mom got rid of them when he went to college. So, it's cool we all have something from Thor that we love to pull from. I love Beta Ray Bill. He's my favorite from that run. So it's cool that we have his first appearance to go along with the first Jane Foster appearance we have. So, very excited that this came back as an 8.5. Also, the white cover to get an 8.5. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, again, torn. Don't know which way to go with what I want to show off. It's a bit hard to decide because I'm really excited about all of these. But I guess we'll start off with the one I was not least excited for, but hunted the least amount. And that is Hulk number 1 from 2008. And I don't know if you can see it on the cover here, but this is the first appearance of Red Hulk. There's also an Iron Man, Doc Samson, She-Hulk, and Winter Guard appearance in this book. But first appearance of Red Hulk. And you don't necessarily, spoiler for the book, you don't necessarily know that's Red Hulk throughout the issue. It's portrayed as being Hulk, and then later on in issue 2 revealed to be Red Hulk, but clearly Red Hulk is on the cover here. So it is his first appearance. Great book. I got this from Little Giants Comics back when they had their shop in Rockingham Mall in Salem, New Hampshire. However, they've recently moved to Lawrence, Massachusetts. So if you're in the Lawrence area, make sure to check them out. They have a lot of great books for sale. And honestly, if you happen to buy multiple books or whatever, you may be able to actually swing a deal with them. They are always open to negotiating. Be reasonable. And they're pretty reasonable back, to be completely honest. I've never had a bad experience with them. So really, really, really stoked to put Red Hulk into the collection. Yeah, it's an awesome book, and I'm so stoked to have it back in the collection as well. So the last book is one that jumped up in price because of the MCU, and then I believe came back down to a reasonable area also because of the MCU. Not the most ringing endorsement for the book. The character didn't maybe get the treatment most fans loved in the MCU. The movie itself is actually pretty solid. What movie am I talking about? I'm talking about Black Widow. Because it's a great book, great movie, and the book itself is a great book that I bought. So maybe you guessed the character already, maybe you haven't. But the book I'm talking about is Avengers number 196, the first full appearance and origin of Taskmaster. So yes, Taskmaster was portrayed a little bit differently in the Black Widow movie, but it's still Taskmaster. So it still kind of helped raise the profile of the book, and then because the movie wasn't the most well received, even though it was a pretty good movie, honestly, a lot of the movies that came out post-COVID, like the first run that got pushed back because of COVID, I actually thought were pretty decent. And maybe that's a discussion for another time. But this book jumped up really, really high in price, and has since come down, and I managed to get a pretty good deal on the book, to be honest. There is a slight cover tear down on the bottom, but the colors were so vibrant on this one that I had to get this one. I love it. I love the way it presents. I think it's amazing, even with the slight tear at the bottom. It came back in 8.0. There are some spine ticks that you can see even through the case itself. Sometimes you can get away with them. But honestly, it presents really, really well. And a quick story on this. This is also from Little Giants. So again, make sure to check them out. When I was looking at this book, they actually had 2 copies of the book. One of them happened to be $25 cheaper than the other, but it didn't present anywhere close to as well as this one. And this one was $25 more than the other one, and I almost honestly went with the cheaper option because I was like, oh, I'll just get it, I'll have it in my collection, and I'll eventually upgrade it. Well, I happened to be at the shop with my wife on the same day, and when we were looking at them, she was like, for $25 more, get the one that you're going to see on your wall, you're going to absolutely love, and it's going to present in a way you want it to present. Because yes, I could have absolutely gone with the other one. But Taskmaster is a book she knew I had been hunting for a while. The $25 wasn't make or break for our financial situation at that moment. And she encouraged me to go ahead and get the book that we both agreed looked way better, was way more vibrant, was absolutely amazing to look at. I love the way it presents. I genuinely do. So if a book means a lot to you and you have to choose between 2 of them and you have the financial capability to spend a little bit more on one that looks nicer because it's a book that actually has value to you, go ahead and treat yourself to that book, because it's a book you're going to care about, right? It's not a book you want to have just to have it. And like I said, the key thing is if you have the financial ability to do it. If your financial situation limits you to getting the book that is $25 less, go ahead and do that too. That's totally fine. I definitely have a couple of books that fall into that category where financially a better grade is so far outside of my price range that I got one that was lower because it meant more to me to have the book in that condition than to not have it at all. And that's okay. But for this book, for that price difference, it wasn't a make or break scenario for me, and I went ahead and I pulled the trigger on it. So Very, very excited. And again, shout out to Bobby's Retro World. Check them out on Instagram. Their link is in my description below. If they're at a con by you, make sure to also check them out. They're 100% worth it. They have great prices on their stuff. They offer more than just comic books too. So if you're interested in some other things, they're Retro World. So they have retro video games and a whole lot of other things to offer as well. So definitely stop by their booth, check them out, and tell them Whoosh says hello. But that's it for this Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed another look at some CGC books that I got, and we'll catch you here next time. Thanks!